we pulled into a gas station to get some gas, and then I started driving out and made a left turn. Maybe it was a right turn, actually.
It was right turn.
And, yeah.
Right turn.
And pretty soon there was some police lights behind me.
Hi, Pops.
Hey, Darren. What are we doing?
What's new, man? We're back.
We are back. Yeah.
We are back. I think this is officially the 7th episode for Hi Pops, but we're in the middle of a series that we've been doing, a 4-part series that we just had to chop up because we just had a lot of fun chatting with the Misfits.
Correct. So this will be part 3 of that series.
Part 3, yes. Last time we had part 2. We saw some fun stories, lots of fun stories from part 2. You know, we got to see the parade float that was put together. That was really cool. Lots of biking and camping photos, and one of my favorites was Kyle's haircut. That was
right. Yeah, and it just occurs to me that I'm going to make an important announcement. You don't even know this is coming.
Uh-oh.
Kyle has informed me that he had some parts that maybe should have been included. Yeah, it really should have been included in part 2. Some video clips and a photo. So I think there's going to be a director's cut of part 2 with some additional footage.
Yeah, but you have to be a subscriber to get the director's cut, right? We'll make
sure.
it like a very special.
Sure. Right. I have to be a Patreon member.
Yeah, we'll have to put in Patreon. Like you could get a Patreon subscription, and then you get the director's cut with the added footage.
And you have to be at a certain level of contribution.
Correct. Our gold level.
Correct.
There is no Patreon page.
Okay. Anybody can have it then.
All right. Well, we'll just release it then. Okay. The heck with it. Everybody can have it. Well, we got some good stuff coming up in part 3. Do you want to share some of the highlights from part 3?
This is kind of a fun episode. It's not a picture show so much like last time at all, but great stories, a long list of stories. And we start out with one about a trip to Moab. It was our second trip to Moab, and this time it included Kyle, myself, and the Earl boys. And we went to Moab through a town of Salina, Utah. Now, normally to get to Moab, you kind of cut through the center of Utah through a highway that's through the hills, and it's a more direct route, but it's slower because it's a 2-lane highway through the mountains, you might say.
Right.
So, but this time we said, well, we're gonna be quicker maybe by taking I-15. You take I-15 for quite a ways, and then you cut over to Interstate 70. And right before you connect to 70, there's the town of Salina. And we stopped there in the middle of the night to get some gas. And it's very important to get some gas because there's a big sign when you enter Highway 70. No services for the next 109 miles.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure
you're well supplied, right?
So it's an awesome story. That I think most people will enjoy. There's a story of the Porcupine Rim Trail, which I remember as being more walking than riding, but it was fun. A funny story that I titled "Tyson Loses His Lunch." Milton was adamant that I include a clip from The Simpsons concerning Mr. Black.
Oh, yeah.
So we have that. We talked about our e-bikes a little bit. As we get older, especially me, got into e-bikes. There's a couple of Kevin stories. One about him in the Cactus, and one about him on a ski trip that Kyle, and I went on
Yep.
up at Jackson Hole on the Teton Village.
Yeah.
There's what I consider a hilarious story that I've just called the girlfriend.
Are the air quotes required there?
Pretty much, yeah.
The girlfriend.
And the Misfits talked about their various Moab trips in general and how they've gotten older with their families. And I call one section where let's say Tyler waxes on kind of about the zen of the Misfits,
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories is when I think it was the second trip to Moab. We were going to camp.
Yeah.
But I forgot my sleeping bag.
And it gets cold in the desert.
Oh, it gets cold. Yeah. Even if it's warm in the day, it's cold at night.
Yep.
So these are fun stories, and it's just kind of a story time free for all, and I think you'll enjoy it. At the end, Tyler has to leave for another engagement he has, and so that's where we end this episode. But that's where it'll begin, part 4.
Yep. Lots of great stuff still to come in both this episode, part 3, and in part 4 to come later.
Yeah.
Well, should we get to it?
I think we should. It'll be fun.
Right. Here's part 3. Enjoy.
Thanks, Darren. So let's go back in time before we forget. Whoever we have elected to tell the story of the second trip to Moab, and we took instead of going through the middle of Utah, we went around and ended up in town of Salina. Is that it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as I recall, we pulled into a gas station to get some gas, and then I started driving out and made a left turn. Maybe it was a right turn, actually.
It was right turn.
And, yeah.
Right turn.
And pretty soon there was some police lights behind me, and the policeman decided to pay us a visit. And who wants to tell it from there?
I can.
Who you pointing at?
Tyson. He's like over there. A couple of minutes. It was early, so it was like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. or something like that.
It was dark.
So early in the morning, right? And we just got a bunch of like snacks and stuff, and I think Rusty had some gnarly smelling licorice in the back of the car, and Rusty's just I'm eating this food, and we're drinking something. We're just like really tired. And you pull out, you went into the second lane out, which was kind of true, but it was just some beat up old highway anyway. And as soon as you pulled out, whoop 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 whoop, pop and up police. So this guy pulls over behind you. And then he comes right up there. He's like, "Well, hey guys," and the conversation included something like asking where you guys are going, where are you from? So you got bikes on the top. And then he very awkwardly said something like, I'm just gonna say that I pull over hundreds of cars, and this car smells like marijuana. Have you guys been doing drugs tonight? And then Rusty's like, "I got some black licorice back here. Does it smell like this?" And Rusty reaches forward with his hand like that.
No, what it was it was dehydrated apples that had been dipped in Jello. Mama
What?
made these. Yeah, and so it had a fruity smell to it, and that's what it was.
Yeah, it has the musty, that classic.
But I was
marijuana
probably
smell.
eating black licorice at the same time too, so I don't know.
But I remember
I
Dave.
remember him saying like, "Hey, can you like pull out the ashtray?" And we're like, "Yeah, where's the ashtray?"
Where is it?
And we finally find he pulls it out, and it's like factory new clean ashtray.
Yep.
And then
But then
he
he had to
didn't.
get out of the car.
No, but yeah, he's talking
No.
to us
Yeah.
like this. Go ahead.
He said something like, he's like, "No, well, are you guys sure?" And you're like, "No, I have not. No." And then he said something. He's like, "Well, can I look in your? I'll just do it." So he reaches around and reaches into the glove box.
He goes
without
to the
really
other side of the car, right? Opens the passenger door. I don't remember him announcing he was going to do it at all. He just did it.
Mhm.
I'm thinking,
He's like,
is this legal for him to do this? He's reaching into the glove box. Go ahead.
It was search and seizure, basically, illegally. He says, "Well, I don't see anything." And we're like, "We haven't." He says, "Well, let me ask you this." And that's why I thought we were on candid camera, because he said, "Let me
Yeah.
ask you this. what religion are you guys? And then Rusty's like, we're LDS. What? Mormon. Oh, okay. Well, you guys don't look like the kind of guys that would do drugs. I'll let you guys go. That's all I remember.
It's so bizarre.
I thought I heard him ask if we had temple recommends. That's what I heard he said.
One time I thought maybe I should pull mine out.
I was like, this is really not what you're supposed to do.
It's like
So
instead
did
of
he
pulling
make-
out your dad's business card, you're pulling out your temple recommend.
Yeah. Oops, wrong one. Sorry.
Sorry.
So did he make you guys get out of the car and all that stuff?
Oh.
Like, okay. Wow.
No, but even just say like, you guys don't look like the kind of people who be doing drugs, and like that's awkward.
Little did he know that you guys were all misfits.
Right.
Well, I'll show you.
Well, and the opposite's funny too, because I was with Kevin in Salt Lake one time, and we were in my old little Volkswagen bus, and Kevin gets pulled over because he was driving, and the first words out of his mouth, because the officer's like, "Have you been drinking?" He says, "Officer, no, I'm LDS, don't you know?" And the officer was mad. Oh, he was so mad. He was all like, first off, I didn't ask you if you were religious. Second off, he says, how dare you throw your religion out there as a way to get out of a ticket? But in Kevin's defense, we didn't get a ticket, so it worked.
Now I got to tell you, after that trip, when I got back to work, a guy I worked with real closely, I told him the story, and he says, I know, like his uncle or cousin was a police officer in the Salina Police Department. He says, I'm going to call him and tell him what this officer did. But I don't know, he couldn't get a hold of him that day, so he dropped it. But I thought, man, that'd be cool.
Yeah, if it was his cousin that was the one that actually pulled
it
you
wasn't,
over.
because I had the name or something. He said
Yeah.
it wasn't him, but it's,
Now, to be fair, it was late at night. It was like midnight, 12:30 or something in the morning.
I thought it was. I don't remember it being dark at all, but
Oh, it was.
Well, that's funny.
all right. What now, guys?
Yeah.
We done?
Well, who
No,
wants
not
to
done.
tell the Porcupine Rim Trail story?
There you go.
I wasn't there, so
So the part that I remember being the most scared, you guys have no memory of, I think, but we'd parked up at the top of this thing, and we'd seen, like, it was, for a while there was a TV series called something Blue, True Blue, and the whole premise of a TV show was there's these extreme mountain bikers who were on a police force or whatever. So for the opening scene of the show back in the early 2000s was they actually showed a flying sequence over Porcupine Rim and some guys, professional riders, going down this thing. So that was my whole knowledge of Porcupine Rim. So we're like, let's do this thing. And Dave's with us and everybody else. And so we park at the top of the hill. We start going down. And half of us were on full suspension bikes, half were on rigid bikes. But this was a tough trail, right? And so somewhere along the way, we come to the first little drop down area where we like walked the bikes and basically like slid them down the hill. And we're like, this is kind of extreme. And there was a couple that came down behind us on these big full suspension bikes. They're like, coming through. And they just like ride down this 12-foot embankment. We're like, we're fine. Everything's fine. And then we just had to take a photo on top of this boulder overlooking the cliff. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I know.
Yeah. So I remember, like, we're all like pushing into each other, kind of pushing back closer towards the cliff, and we're all holding onto our bikes too. I remember looking back, having this extreme experience of like, we're all going to die. Like, someone's going to start falling backwards. And I had this thought of like grabbing onto somebody and we're all going to tumble off together. Anyway,
Well, I don't remember that part.
I do.
I don't
Well,
remember
that's
part.
what was going on in his
That's what goes.
imagination.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would make sure not to be standing next to Rusty if that
Yeah.
I knew that.
I was
Hey,
like,
Rusty,
Kyle, let's
if you're gonna go, take me with you. I'll cushion your fall.
Okay.
So I must have blocked out the first part of that trail. I remember we were cutting that, the actual trailhead of it. You had some climbing, and we're like, no, we don't want to climb. So we kind of cut out.
Oh,
We cut out the first little bit. We parked off the road there, and I remember riding along that. I mean, you're riding not right on the ledge, but you're riding really close to the ledge. Just gorgeous, nice rolling.
and hundreds of feet of flood.
Hundreds of feet of drop. It was cool. It was was that Castle Valley that it overlooked?
Mm.
That's right.
Just beautiful. And for like 10 miles, it was like that.
and I thought it was so nice. And then you get to the part, there was a gate there that was no motorized, so any Jeeps or motorcycles, they had to turn around. And I always remember there was this one guy, he's taken off all of his body armor.
Yeah.
And he was just cussing, this trail is so lame, and he's taking off all this body armor, wishing he hadn't have brought it. And then we go through the gate, and he stopped about half a mile in, putting it all back on.
Oh,
Because
that was
the
our-
last 2 miles of that trail was gnarly. It was nasty, and I walked most of it, and so we get down to the bottom. We had dropped Kevin's Metro at the river, at the parking lot down there, and we get down to the bottom. You go through a tunnel underneath the highway, and we get down there, and Kevin says, "So, how would you rate today on a scale of 1 to 10?" I said, first 10 miles, I'd say 9, solid 10, man. It's been fantastic. The last 2 miles, like a 3. That sucked. That was gnarly. And I said, but overall, I'd say like an 8. And he says, what if I told you I left my keys in Rusty's van at the trailhead? I'd say it's about a 2. And so we ended up, we were, kind of there at the parking lot. We sacrificed a spoke trying to pick it because he had a key in the ashtray, but he didn't have a way to get into the car. And we busted a blade on my Leatherman or something trying to get in. And Dave and Kyle, you guys ended up just riding back to Moab. We were able to hitch rides. We were just, as riders were coming in, we're like, hey, is anyone going back up to the trailhead? And I remember Rusty and we were able to catch a ride in the back of somebody's truck.
Yeah.
And
got
up there.
Was this the first ride I did with an e-bike? I did have
No, it wasn't an e-bike.
It wasn't an e-bike.
And then you're like, I'm done mountain biking forever. Like you were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were.
This is the one
you were
where
done
it
the rest of the
was
trip
like
after that.
seemed to me like 80% walking.
Yeah, your knees were killing. It was killing all of us, but it was rough.
Yeah, the beginning and the end were really rough.
Now, Ty, wasn't this also the trip where your buddy, him and his wife, they were like more extreme riders? They kind of tagged along, or we were tagging along together.
Yeah, they were.
And at first, they're all like, "We're gonna go find healthy food." We're like, "Let's go to Wendy's." But they.
I had friends with people in Vernal when I worked out there in oil and gas, and a good guy, but like super strong, like engineers have strong opinions. He had very strong opinions about everything. He was a purist, and and so I was like, I hope he's cool. He better not be rude to my friends, or I'll just have to like tell him not to hang out with us or something. But very opinionated and like 2% body fat, kind of roadie guy, but he was also into mountain biking. And at the end of the trip, he told me, because I was like, I wonder how he's going to perceive like Kevin. He's kind of loud, right? And Kevin kind of won him over, and his wife talked to him, and he was in the truck ride with Tyler and the guys back to the top to get keys. And when he got back from the trip, he's like, man, Misfits, not a single dud in the bunch. Your friends are awesome, man. They're cool. Like your friend.
I pulled the wool over his eyes.
Guy, he's cool too, though. Like talking about Kevin, and he had a great trip. They loved it, and we were like just mowing down on chili dogs or whatever one day, and they're like, "Yeah, for it."
You kind of cut out there, Tyson. What was the last bit?
Oh, like we were mowing down on chili dogs for lunch, like at Milt's or something, like something really gross, but like it was just tasted good. And like they only ate like salads and only like, range-free chicken and stuff,
Gotcha.
So,
That's awesome.
Range-free chicken.
Something
Free
out
range.
of pork. That's awesome.
No, it just always wasn't the same unless we had Mr. Black with us.
Yeah.
Mr. Black.
Well, it's from that Simpsons thing.
Black.
They're talking along and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then it's like audio cuts out, Mr. Black.
I forgot about that.
I have a story about
Let's-
Bro B. Can I share this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was getting to know the Black family, and I was like, man, Kyle's family they're chill, they're laid back, they're fun, and just super comfortable in their own skin. I was like, these are good people. Then you had that crazy dog, Sadie, right? And she'd always eat my food. so I walk in the house and I'm like, yeah, I finished my shift at Ace Hardware, got my McDonald's bag. I set it down on someone's bed or the kitchen or something. Kyle's like, you better not do that. And I'm like, I can also, he's like, grabs the bag. And she's like, oh, eating this thing. And Kyle goes there, he's like, dang it, stupid dog. And he's like, got his hand down her throat, like, trying to read cheeseburger forever. And then he's like, just got her lesson. She's got to learn her lesson. And he's got his thumbs down her throat. And then
Wow, that paints a really bad picture of me. Thanks for that.
Well, to be fair, we all had to do that with Sadie. I mean, like, I've did it multiple times, and she just would. You could never break her of that habit.
Yeah.
well, Brother Black felt bad about it, so that on our next trip to biking in Prison Loop there in Pocatello, he's like, I'm gonna get you lunch today because my dog ate your food. I'm like, oh, you don't have to do that.
Aw.
Thanks, Brendan.
Did he get you McDonald's, or did he get something a step up for you?
I think it was anything I wanted at McDonald's. So I got like a.
There you go.
Okay, he's got a video here
You
for
have
us.
whatever you like.
He's not sharing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This is. I forgot that Milton wanted me to share this. I don't even remember it, but I'll do it anyway. Here we go.
Hi, kids. Welcome to Camp Krusty.
It's up.
I'll see you in a few weeks. Until then, I've turned things over to my bestest buddy in the whole wide world.
Mr. Black.
I want you to treat
Mr. Black.
with the same respect you would give me. Now here's
Mr. Black. Thank you, Krusty, and welcome, children. I am Mr. Black, your head counselor. For the past 15 years, I was president of Euro Krusty Land. Until it blew up. I'll take any questions you might have. You, and then one more.
Can we call you Uncle Blackie?
No. Last question.
When do we get to see Krusty?
He will be along eventually. In the meantime, our counselors, Dolph, Jimbo, and Kearney will be happy to handle any problems you may have.
Carney.
We call you
Looks
Uncle
like we got
Blackie.
ourselves a troublemaker.
Mr. Black.
Okay. There's a copyright strike for us.
I was just gonna say, like, YouTube's gonna throw a fit over that one.
That's awesome.
Mr. Black.
Yeah, that's my favorite. It just, I don't know. I always think of it that way. It's even labeled that way on my phone. It's Uncle Dave, Mr. Black. But you can't like make it say it the same way with emojis. You know what I mean?
Right.
Make a ringtone out of it.
There we go.
Mr. Black.
Mr. Black.
That was the first time I used an e-bike.
I think that was the 2009. No, not 9. It was the one after that.
It was before Kevin passed away when he fell into the cactuses, I think.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so 2017.
Yeah.
Or 18.
Well, before you got to tell some more Kevin stories about that. But the first time I rode an e-bike, I remember the trail we were on, and we got to this one turn, and it was like, in my mind, like this 45-degree pitch up this rock, right? And it was like, you have to be a brute to get up that thing. So I just put my mountain bike in turbo, and these guys were watching me like, wow. Like, that's pretty nice. I like being able to do that.
That same trailhead, you'd forgotten to turn it on. So you rode like the first mile. I was like, Kyle, this is really hard. He's like, turns on the bike. Oh, okay.
It's easier now. Wow.
It's only hard because you got the extra pounds of the battery and everything else that you're pushing in the gearbox.
I like riding it without the E for a while, but then I like being able to shift in.
So the story with the cactus was that same trip we got on 7-Up. Really nice, cool, flowy trail.
And you just about lost your main cassette.
Yep.
On that rental bike.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So we're on 7-Up, and we're just having a great time. It's pretty mellow trail, but beautiful, nice area. We're kind of worming our way back around this corner. We've gone not quite half the way, And we go up this embankment, and all along us there was small patches of prickly pear cactus, maybe some cholla cactus or other places. And Kevin was borrowed Kyle's downhill mountain bike. It's a big old triple crown thing, so it was hard to lean forward and climb. So he spun up because it was that green bike. So he spun up this little embankment. He's laughing the whole way while he's talking, and he falls over backwards, slides back, and then his thigh, part of his butt, lands right in this prickly pear cactus. And we are just dying laughing. Like, we're not helping him at all. We're just like, yeah, Kevin, yeah.
And he's stripping down to his underwear,
Yeah,
pulling all these
So
pricklies out.
he's like, this is great, guys. Can't help me. So I go over there with my gloves on, and I try to help him. So I literally grab the cactus. I'm like, oh, it kind of hurts. I'll go over and do this thing for a while. And Kevin's like, you suck. And so he pulls his pants down, like his butt is sticking out, pulls off his garment right there, and he's just pulling out little pieces of cactus. And then this guy shows up, and we're like, God, you got to...
Ripped grandpa.
Yeah, shredded old guy. And he's like, you guys okay? We're like, yeah, you got any tweezers or Leatherman? He's like, and he had to really think about it if he was gonna be willing to give us his tool, right? So was it tweezers or Leatherman?
I don't remember.
No,
Maybe it's Leatherman.
I think it was a Leatherman.
Anyway, so he hands over the tool to Kevin. Kevin's like ripping out leg hair, ripping out his butt hair to get this stuff out. And the guy's like, yeah, so I don't want to go. And we're like, can we just we'll pay it back? He's like, well, I guess I could give it to you. It was like a pair of tweezers or something stupid. We're like, thank you for your sacrifice, Anyway. But
I forgot about that part. But yeah, that he just fell almost that up and then just boom, right into that patch.
yeah.
Well, and at first, the guy, when he came up, he was like, can you move out of the way?
Oh wow.
Yeah. But prickly pear cactus has the actual spikes you can see, and then it has all those little reddish, brownish micro needles in it. So he had hundreds up and down his leg, backside of his butt. It was awesome.
Ugh. Sounds awful.
One Kevin story I'd like to get in before we get is Darren and Kyle, myself, and I guess Kevin. I think that was all. What, the ski trip to Jackson?
Oh,
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I was his roommate. I was his roommate at the time, so I wasn't there. But I remember having to help him
Yes.
shower and.
Oh
No.
wow, yeah. No, it was like the first day.
So we
one,
bought
and
lift
run
ticket.
one.
What's that? Oh no! Well, we bought lift tickets for like 3 days, didn't we, or something?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
It was like a 3.
And it had a cabin on.
We had a cabin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we were gonna go ski Teton Village, Snow King. We had plans for like all of it, right? Is that right, or am I remembering wrong?
I just
Not
remember
sure.
the Jackson Hole. I didn't know that we were doing multiple resorts, but yeah.
I think we had multiple days at Jackson for sure because of what
Yeah.
happened next.
Yeah.
I mean, in the story. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Kyle.
And so yeah, it was literally first day, first run. We're all going down, and Darren's in front, Kevin's next, and I'm right behind Kevin. And Darren goes down near this tree to get a lift off of the berm of the tree, and Kevin follows right behind him, and Darren lands it, and then Kevin goes up and he gets in the air and just goes, and he just took a wrong lip off of it, and he was just instantly sideways in the air, and he comes crashing down and broke his collarbone. And
Yep.
it's like very first day, very first run. And it was funny because it's like we're getting there. He's like, I don't feel so good. But he's like mentally connecting everything. He's like, I think I'm in shock. And he's like putting all the pieces together. Just like, self-diagnosing. But I don't remember if we ended up calling ski patrol or if we just
We did.
figured it out. Yeah.
I think we did.
I think so.
Did we?
Because he was laying on the snow. I mean, to talk
Yeah.
like about this shock part, like he's laying on the snow for a while, and then he's like, I think I'm in shock, because we were waiting for the ski patrol to come and like get
Yeah.
us out of there. So
But what a place to do it, because Jackson Hole is like top notch, and basically took him down to an ER department at the bottom of the hill.
yep,
And
we'll break on the
But-
clavicle.
but you took care of him, and I don't know how did we get him back? Idaho Falls.
We drove him back home. We got in the Chevy Celebrity, drove him back
But
home.
this is
dropped him off and then came right back.
And this is the cool thing about Jackson. Because of that incident, they said, "Oh well, we'll give you another day, or give your money back on that day, or something." Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That was it. That was at Teton Village or
Teton
Smoky?
Village. Yeah.
Teton Village.
Yeah.
They have a
So-
bike run at Teton Village too,
They do
or
that?
just at
Oh,
Snow
yeah,
Peak.
Teton Village for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to go. I want to go run that. It's awesome looking.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm game.
I'm not going to do it as
So
fierce as
relate-
some of those guys do it, but looks fun.
Related to skiing, something comes to mind. There's kind of this history there with Kyle and Kevin and I dating the same girl at one point.
Oh
And-
no.
I thought it would be best if Kyle told this story.
Uh-oh.
Is this the Nelson girl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the girl.
Did you say
So there's-
Kyle and Kevin and Tyson all dated this girl?
Yeah.
At the same time.
Well, I don't remember. Yeah. Yeah. So I was big into snowboarding, and Tyson was dating this girl that was also into snowboarding, and I don't remember. Tyson, are you a skier, or were you just interested in going with her?
I had been skiing like 4 times in my life, so I was
Yeah.
hard to, but I was able to ski.
So we're all just having a good old time, the three of us skiing together, and like near the end of the day, there's an accident, and so Life Flight comes and lands on the bunny hill to take somebody out, and me and Tyson's girlfriend managed to get ahead of it, and he got stuck behind it. So we're standing there at the lift, kind of waiting, and he can't go anywhere, and this is all her idea. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
And
Good disclaimer.
and so I was like, so what do you want to do? And I'm just thinking in my mind, should we just pack it up? And since we're waiting, she's like, and then she goes, well, if we go without him, we can probably get more runs in. And so I go, okay, and we hop back on the lift. So we just do another ski. It's like, and so we're skiing down, and it's like the last run, and we're near the bottom, and it's like the last run, they've turned off the lifts, and she still doesn't want to quit. So we like actually stop and hike back up the hill a little bit to do one last run. And we finally get to the bottom, and Tyson's just waiting there for us. But then that kind of evolved, and she like lived in Pocatello, right? Or she was going to school in Pocatello.
Yeah.
And so I was going to go ski at Snow King, or not Snow King, Pebble. And she wanted to come along. I can't remember how that all happened, but we go up there, and the conditions, we get up there, conditions suck, it's icy. And she's like, I got an idea. She goes, conditions kind of suck. So how about instead we just go to Lava Hot Springs and have dinner, my treat. Like, okay. So kind of like, so I ended up dating this girl a few times that I apparently stole from Tyson. But the funniest part is the reason that I was in Pocatello is because the very next day was a climbing competition in Logan. And so when we got back from Lava Hot Springs, we were just sitting at her house, chatting on the porch, and Kevin's in the van ready to drive to Logan, and he's just sitting there waiting. And so we were up really late, and I was talking to her, and then we finally took off and go to Logan, and it was like 2 a.m. We get in there, and then we just pull over in Logan Canyon and camp in the van. And then the next morning when we go to the gym, I'm sitting there in the bathroom, and in the bathroom I hear Rusty and Tyson come in through the door and meet Kevin and tell him the story about how the travel went. And he's like, oh, we got in so late because Kyle was up all night macking with his girlfriend. And I'm like, oh crap. No, I wasn't. And it's Tyson's girlfriend.
We're dating. It wasn't like that, but it gets better because then you came in the bike shop or at Bill's, and you're talking about this girl who's Kevin has now been dating. She's like, that girl is such a hussy.
Is this the twin that Ryan Hansen married, or is this the
Yeah.
other one?
Her sister.
Her
Her
sister.
sister.
Right?
Mhm.
Hanson.
Yeah.
So anyway, she went snowboarding or something with Kevin too, or he was dating her or something. And then all of a sudden you're like, I need to tell you something. After you're like, that girl is such a hussy. I was kind of dating her. I didn't tell you. I feel so bad. Kevin, that was funny.
Awesome.
So it just occurred to me when you guys were telling the last Moab story that like that was in 2017 and you guys started this in like 94, 95. How many trips did you guys make to Moab?
Oh, 1, 2,
I think I've only been about
5.
4, 5.
It feels like it was like 8, but might be less than that.
There was at least 5 that I can remember off the top of my head.
Sometimes we couldn't all go as a group.
Yeah, I've been 3 times.
What was the last time we kind of all went? Was it that?
After Kevin passed.
2020 would have
Okay,
no
that's-
21.
I think it was 2020, wasn't it? Or was it?
No, it's 2019.
2019.
Kevin died in 2020.
2019, right at the
So
end of the
yeah,
year. Kind of.
is
Yeah.
that last trip? Yeah,
Right.
But didn't we go again after
We-
Kevin?
yeah, we've gone again after Kevin passed away.
I bet it's been 8 times we've gone together.
Wow. So it's very much a tradition, it seems like.
Yeah, it definitely when we were, in the early 2000s into and after 2010, it was very, very much more few and far between as we're building our families, we're raising our families, and
Sure.
I mean, we're
Living off mac and cheese.
living on mac and cheese, rice and beans and rice, like Dave Ramsey says. But
Yep.
but yeah, we would get a chance to go every now and again during that time. But I just love. I was thinking as I was driving in here today, just thinking about where all of us are in our families, in our careers.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think in '99 when you guys went for the first time, I don't think we would have ever imagined we'd be doing what we're doing now, have the families we have now. I mean,
Yeah.
but between all of us, Kevin included, how many kids have we got?
No.
2. I mean,
7?
I've got 7. Kevin's got 5.
5?
No, 4. No, Kevin's got 4 kids. Sorry.
Okay.
We got 4.
You got 4.
2 and 2.
Tyson, you've got 5.
Tyson's
right?
got 5.
Holy cow, poor Tyson. He's got kids who moved out of the house and he's starting all over again with a newborn.
This is not the right forum for this statistic.
I'm proud.
Tyson, you love them all, and you know it.
But it's kind of cool. I mean, you think about the things that we talked about, things that were important to us when we were college kids, when we were just starting out in life, compared to the things that are important to us and we talk about. I mean, the last trip that we took just to Sun Valley, yeah, the trail that we did, that was fun. But when I came home from that, I was like, you know what? We really, really needed that. We talked so much deeper about, the struggles, and we relate to each other's struggles. It's amazing getting together. Yeah, the rides and the camping and the things that we do are one thing, but it's the discussions that we have are so much better than any therapist could do.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing for me, I don't know about how the rest of you feel and stuff, but I know when we first started climbing, when we first started biking and stuff like that, it was like, to me, it was like the coolest thing. That I was like, really, Kyle, your dad is willing to go with us? It's like, really, Mr. Black, you're going to come with us? It's like, this is awesome. And now that I have my own kids about the same age as I was when all this started, I'm just all like, well, hey, what are my kids into? I need to be more like Mr. Black.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I try to relate on both sides of the spectrum, I guess.
Bring that next generation.
Interesting though, because Dad did that with like all of us, right? I mean, I remember multiple camping trips on the scouting side growing up. He was just always participating in all of our activities. But he dropped a bomb on me like not so long ago when he confessed that he actually hates camping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He did it
Probably
all,
the first-
and he hates it.
Probably that first city trip when we slept on the cold.
Oh, scouting trips from Darren's age 13 on.
And you should tell the story about the camping trip where you forgot your sleeping bag that you told me earlier.
I was about to
Oh,
tell you,
go
say
ahead,
that
Kyle.
that's kind of what
That was
started the hotel version of Moab.
Did the first trip? It was a tent in the picture, but didn't we get a hotel after that night? Or?
No, it was the second trip with the twins.
We
that
didn't have a
rolled
hotel.
over.
We slept in that
We didn't have a
cold
hotel. Huh?
granite.
We didn't have a hotel planned. We planned to camp, and after the
Well,
first
when
night,
it was just you and I.
yeah, when it's just you and I, we didn't have a hotel. We camped the whole time
Okay, I didn't
at
realize
that
that.
there. At
Go
the
ahead
area.
then.
But then it was the second trip, and that
Mhm,
very first
yeah.
night we
Yeah.
camped. Next morning, you're like,
Well,
I'm springing
but-
for a hotel.
Make sure you realize that it wasn't until we got there or somewhere along the line I said, "Oops, I forgot my sleeping bag."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Kyle said, "Well, I guess you could sleep with me and mine," which didn't
Well,
work very well because by morning I had the whole thing and you had nothing.
That's funny though, because it kind of the idea for that came from when way back in Camp Lowell, when we took a long hike and I was freezing to death, and we put me and my sleeping bag in your sleeping bag with you so that I would stay warm enough. And I was like, hey, we could just do that again.
Yeah, but I got it that morning and said, "Okay, boys, we're getting a hotel.
Yeah.
No more of this."
I think
And that first hotel was that the sleep in or days in?
That
Yeah,
was the sleep in.
And that's where the story about jumping across on the picture comes from, right? About we did the
video.
Porcupine Rim Trail, and then we jumped across, did the bunny hop onto this one, and down in the rim.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That was that video that you guys shared earlier. We shared earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it was the second trip where we made the video, right?
Yep.
That was the video called Moab Normal. There were other
Yep.
videos.
Yeah.
But then the trip was the third one or something where Kevin came. There were more of us, and that was the Days Inn. We got that huge room with all the beds. Remember that
Yeah.
one?
Mm-hmm.
we climb out the window to go to the hot
Climbed out.
tub.
after hours, we went to the hot tub by climbing out the window. Yeah.
Well, it was right there.
Oh yeah.
I believe someone asked not to do that anymore. They're like, could you please put the screen back in and not do that?
Too cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I gotta get running. I gotta get home. Take care of some other stuff today.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah.
for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for showing up. Yeah. Appreciate
We'll
it.
let you leave, and then we'll start telling stories about you.
The one thing I was thinking of that Milton should tell is what got me thinking of it was the bad sleeping conditions. You should tell the story about going to Devil's Tower with Kevin and Tammy
Yeah.
right after they were married.
Yeah.
Wow.